Good evening, San Antonio. As we head throughout the next few hours, we're still watching that possibility of seeing some heavy rainfall. We do still have a flood watch in effect until 6 a.m. for portions of the hill country. Now, it no longer includes Bexar County, even going up to Austin. But what we're watching is additional rainfall of up to 3 inches, maybe even more. But that's going to be a chance of some widespread rain and closer to
Live from KSAT 12, the 6 o'clock news starts right now.
A battle over redistricting in Texas hitting a snag thanks to a judicial roadblock. Why some local elected leaders say they're not comfortable running for unstable districts.
Hundreds of wounded, ill, and injured athletes are set to compete here in San Antonio. We're going to tell you why it's such a big deal for the military community.
The city of San Antonio looking to combat a troubling trend of elder abuse and exploitation. How the city is stepping in to shield our seniors.
And a group of Bexar County kids celebrating the start of their new lives with new families. We'll talk to the man who knows the most about Bexar County's foster care system.
But we begin here tonight with the weather. There was action out there on the radar right now. Adam Caskey tracking it all for us.
Yeah, and it's moving very quickly, so this does not stay in the same place for very long, which limits the overall rainfall accumulation potential. But we have had an inch of rain in some parts of northwestern Bexar County. So here's this downpour showing signs of weakening. And one reason I know that, you see all the lightning strikes, these white lines. Sometimes I call them whiskers on here because that's what they look like. Notice how they're very plentiful across I-10. Now we don't have nearly as many of those lightning strikes at the current time, usually an indication that that thunderstorm is weakening. Still some heavy rainfall with it. Now, moving through Timberwood Park, Bulverde, you're getting hit by the heavy rainfall. Smithson Valley, generally speaking, I think up to maybe a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch. It would have been more if this was moving more slowly, but it's moving very quickly off to the northeast at 40 miles per hour. Earlier, this did have a little bit of hail in it, but right now I don't anticipate any hail. We'll take a look at the 3D view, 3D structure of this thunderstorm. And let me move our 3D area right overhead. And now we can tilt it up and look into this thunderstorm. And you see the vertical structure in it, not as tall as other ones that we get, the really tall ones that are over 40,000 feet. Those ones will often have some hail. This one right now just has a little bit of hail suspended. You see this purple right here? That's just small hail suspended up in the thunderstorm, but nothing significant, nothing severe, nothing damaging with this. Just very loud because of the heavy rainfall, the lightning, and the thunder associated with it. Let's actually play this over the past 30 minutes and you'll see how it had the hail right there over northwest Bexar County, but now that hail core has really dissipated quite a bit. So we're not really anticipating anything damaging from this, just some good healthy rainfall. We'll take a look at some of the rainfall totals. And even if you haven't gotten rain yet, you could still have a few showers going forward. We still have another chance of rain later on tonight and first thing tomorrow morning. Now this downpour, that's about 20 miles north of downtown. Let's take a look. Downtown right here, downpour now about 15 miles north. And we have our Shelby Ebertowski outside here, downtown outside of KSAT 12 studios. Dry here. What else are you seeing out there from your vantage point?
Well, Adam, earlier during the 5 o'clock, we were really getting hit with the wind and the humidity. And even now, we're still dry for the most part. We're starting to see a very few small amounts of drizzles, but we're still getting greeted by the wind associated with these thunderstorms. And even behind me, we're still seeing a little bit of those beautiful cumulus thunderstorms. But the good news is they're continuing to weaken, but you still might see some lightning over the next few hours and still that cloud coverage with the rain. So remember to be weather aware, not only with the rain you can see today, but also the rain tomorrow and the rain throughout this weekend.
All right. right, Shelby, thank you. Well, here is a look from our storm chaser as it travels north along I-35. A lot of people doing that right now. We just wanted to give you this perspective to show you what the weather is like a little bit north of San Antonio.
Definitely looks a little threatening out there, so we'll continue to keep an eye on everything. Of course, the radar there at the bottom right of your screen. So Adam, Shelby, and the weather team will continue to keep an eye on it. We'll have more from them coming up in a little bit.
Other news we're covering today, Texas congressional races are all up in the air right now. The state legislature redrew its congressional map in the hopes of adding more Republican seats ahead of what could be a challenging midterm election for the GOP.
Yeah, but now a panel of 3 judges has blocked that map. They say there is evidence of racial gerrymandering.
So our Garrett Berger has been looking at whether some possible candidates are as eager to run in these current districts. Garrett.
Yeah, Myra and Ernie, which map is it going to be? We don't know right now. It's the big question for candidates considering a congressional run. Texas Republicans hope the Supreme Court overrules that panel of judges in El Paso and puts this map, the newly drawn one by the state legislature, back into play. A map that prompted plenty of interest among potential Republican candidates. But until there's a decision, uncertainty reigns.
Like many Texas Republicans, Bexar County Commissioner Grant Moody thinks the state's new congressional map is legal.
Nobody's hiding the fact that clearly we're trying to get 5 additional Republican seats.
But it will be up to the U.S. Supreme Court to decide. In the meantime, the 35th congressional district that Moody's been eyeing for a run reverts back from a Republican-leaning one to the boundaries held by Progressive Caucus Chairman Greg Casar.
Be no situation where you would jump into the old 35 congressional district. If that was ultimately what played out.
We don't know how it will play out yet, but there's a ticking clock to file. The deadline, less than 3 weeks away. Juan Sepulveda, a former visiting political science professor at Trinity University, thinks a decision could very well come after that. But even if it did, he says the court could allow the new maps to be used anyway.
That also means that, you're going to have this crazy thing going on in terms of if we've got that deadline, you're filing, but filing for what?
And if there's a question, Moody's already got his answer.
There's no circumstances where I would, resign to run in an uncertain situation where I don't even know which district I'm running in.
It might not have to be his final answer, though. Sepulveda thinks if the Supreme Court makes a decision after the filing deadline, that deadline could be extended.
You have the potential for having it no matter what the decision is.
Meaning that clock might not actually be ticking so incessantly.
Sepulveda, the political scientist you just heard from, also thinks these new, supposedly more Republican-friendly districts, they assume a decent level of support among Hispanic voters, and that's based on the last election. But he said we've seen some reversals of that support in other states recently, meaning this map might not end up being as Republican-friendly as imagined. Of course, we'll only find out if it goes back into effect. Ernie, Myra?
All right, Garrett, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Workers at a Westside clinic got an unexpected visitor today. A car crashed into their building. It happened around 9 this morning at Clínica La Vida along North Zarzamora Street. So it's not clear what led to the crash or if anyone was hurt. The scene was littered with debris and the car was towed away. We are still working to get in touch with the San Antonio Police Department and fire departments for more information.
Gunfire tore through a neighborhood north of downtown today, leaving one woman shot in the face. Police believe this was a drive-by shooting that happened just after noon near West Russell Place and Agadir Avenue. Officers say that someone in a brown SUV opened fire at a home with 2 people inside, hitting that woman in the face. The woman was able to talk with police after the shooting, and she is expected to survive. As for the shooter, no word yet if they have been caught, and no word on any possible motive.
Well, meanwhile, a man is in jail after SAPD says that he made threats against a protest earlier this week. So according to an arrest affidavit, 48-year-old George Hernandez posted threatening comments on a Facebook post by the Bexar County Democratic Party. The post called for an emergency rally at the site of a federal law enforcement raid where more than 150 immigrants were detained. Hernandez's comment was reported by multiple people, and he was arrested on a charge of making a terroristic threat.
A brawl in the parking lot of a San Marcos bar earlier this month led to 4 arrests, and that includes 2 law enforcement officers. Guadalupe County Sheriff's deputies say the fight happened November 3rd in the parking lot of the Backwoods Ice House. Of the 4 arrested, one, Sheridan Murray, is a former deputy and serving as a Blanco County Constable officer. Another, Manuel Hernandez, was a current deputy with the Guadalupe County Sheriff's Office before he was fired and arrested. Murray was charged with unlawful restraint, while Hernandez was charged with disorderly conduct. The other two connected to this fight are facing disorderly conduct charges. The effort to protect our local senior citizens is getting even bigger.
Yeah, we reported on Tuesday about the county's new Center for Elder Exploitation. And now District 9 Councilwoman Misty Spears is talking about the city's new Elder Abuse Subcommittee. Her passion comes from personal experience with her mother-in-law.
She called me one day and she said, "Hey, I need you to take me to Western Union. I've got to get some money to this person." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And it was one of those scam emails, and she just had no idea that there were predators like that targeting the elderly.
Coming up at 6:30, hear how this subcommittee plans to educate the community and even work with the county to make sure that seniors don't fall through the cracks.
Okay, let's get you outside. Of course, again, we're keeping an eye on the weather there at the bottom of the screen with the radars. Not everybody getting rain right now, but it's still slow there. 281 at 410. We're cycling through some of the cameras just to give you a vantage point. Some slowdowns there in the quarry area. And yeah, it's about what you would expect right now, but it doesn't appear to be much rain falling on some of these cameras. And there's an incident there. That's 37 at Hackberry, that right lane there. Looks like it's at a standstill right now. So we'll continue to keep an eye on these cameras. Of course, we'll be on the air with you through up until the 7 o'clock hour.
10 Bexar County kids today had a big reason to celebrate. They were adopted. The Adoption Day celebration gave these families even more to be thankful for this holiday season.
So that leads us to our next story with a judge who has presided over thousands of adoptions here in Bexar County over the past 20 years.
Judge Charles Montemayor sat down with our Erica Hernandez to talk about his career and the state of the foster care system.
Nothing but the truth. 3 years ago, Judge Charles Montemayor made my forever family official. With both my kiddos, he presided over our adoptions. We were just two of thousands in Montemayor's 20-year career as children court judge.
In 20 years, we've done a lot of adoptions, and it symbolizes maybe families who didn't biologically give birth to the child, but have given them their life. And it's just such a celebration. But Children's Court isn't all celebratory. Judge Montemayor handles tough cases that deal with sometimes horrific abuse and neglect of children. It is difficult to hear about the struggles and the suffering of children. But the goal ultimately is what I think drives every person who's involved with the court. The goal of getting that child to a safe, appropriate home, to a forever family where they could feel safe. In other situations, the hope is to provide families with wraparound services to help parents get back on track, to give their children a safe and stable home. Over 1 year, we're asking the parents to step up, which they should for their family, to prove that they can provide a safe home for their children. And if they do that, we're all working together to put the child back. But if they don't, unfortunately, we have to act in the best interest of the child. While the number fluctuates, last year, according to South Texas Alliance for Orphans, there were more than 3,000 kids in foster care in Bexar County. The need for relatives or foster families to step up is always there. But Judge Montemayor says over the 20 years, he has seen improvement in how the court helps families. While the need is always there for foster families if parents or other relatives can't step up, Judge Montemayor would also like to see more focus on mental health. I just wish that our community, though very responsive, we could increase our efforts, because I think that makes the entire community safe and, most importantly, preserves the most vulnerable in our community, these children. As for if he's slowing down anytime soon? No, I love it too much. Again, this has been great to serve the children in our community. I've been blessed to have this opportunity to help. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
The concert lineup for the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo is now complete. The last performers on that list were announced today. Let's take a look at some of the names. Here are some of the big names: Midland, Gary Allen, Pat Green, Dos Borrachos, Sheryl Crow, Robert Earl Keen, Miranda Lambert, Ludacris, and a whole lot more. You can see the full lineup and the performance schedule on our website, ksat.com.
All right, well, history in the making as Texas prepares to host the Warrior Games for the first time ever, and right here in San Antonio, no less. We'll hear from the man who led these prestigious games a decade ago as he shares his vision for the future.
Did you notice any trouble online this week? Maybe ChatGPT couldn't answer your question, YouTube kept crashing. Well, you are not alone. Coming up, how web infrastructure went down again, and what is planned to be done about that.
And an easy way for anyone to give back, where you can find this unique vending machine that connects people to local nonprofits.
Well, it's a big get for Military City, USA. For the first time ever, the Department of Defense is bringing its annual Warrior Games to San Antonio in 2026.
It will be the first time the prestigious competition will be held in Texas and will attract adaptive military athletes from all over the country. So earlier this afternoon, I had a chance to visit with the local man who was commander for the Warrior Games 10 years ago. Retired Major General Juan Ayala was there in 2015, and he will be front and center next summer when the prestigious Warrior Games take place here in San Antonio. You're fired up about this.
I am. This is close to my heart. I've done a lot of great things in my career, but this is something that is just really special for our military, wounded, ill, and injured.
The games were set to be held in San Antonio back in 2020, but the COVID pandemic forced them to cancel. This time around, the Warrior Games will primarily be held downtown and will be free of charge for the public to attend and cheer on these heroes.
It's very good for the recuperative efforts, because a lot of these folks, you know, if you're a triple amputee, if you're an amputee, if you're blind, you tend to go in the shadows and they come back out.
Army veteran J.P. Lane is a local Purple Heart recipient and a 6-time gold medalist. He was injured in an IED blast in Afghanistan in 2018, losing both of his legs and nearly losing his life several times.
The one thing I'm looking forward to the most is seeing my brothers and sisters in arms give it their all, because these adaptive sports are not easy.
More than 300 adaptive military athletes from around the country are expected to compete next summer. The Warrior Games are also scheduled to return to San Antonio in 2028.
Seeing that camaraderie, seeing that love for one another, and the drive we give one another, I think America should see this 24/7. It will remind us to stay united, just like the military.
It makes me so proud that they're going to be here in San Antonio.
Going to be amazing. And by the way, it will be free to attend these events. It will be absolutely free for the public.
Coming up next year.
Yep, next June.
Okay, meantime, right now, we've got rain out there. Adam, are these storms still moving as fast as they were?
Yeah, they're cooking. They're moving along. And so, but even despite moving so fast, they're dropping a decent amount of rain. So let's start with the rainfall accumulation so far from a few of these downpours that have moved through. And it's generally the far north and northwest side of Bexar County and then surrounding areas as well as you get into parts of the hill country. So where you see the green, it always indicates at least half an inch of rain. The bright green is half an inch. The dark green is 1 inch of rain. And I have the wide view to show the haves and have-nots, and it's mainly been west of I-35 this afternoon and, well, pretty much all day, especially we'll take a look at some of the totals closer to the Rio Grande and in the hill country. But let's get down into the neighborhoods here. And this is where we have some of the higher accumulations right here in Comal County. Let's pop some of these numbers up. You're in Bulverde, just west of 281.9. Leroy Shield Road and near the Spec Store, 1.2 inches, not far from Tejas Rodeo there, 1.2 inches of rain. That's good to see. Even up towards Smithson Valley, where we still have some shower activity, about 1.3, Leon Springs, 0.9. But then you look elsewhere and nothing as you get to downtown and actually a good portion of Bexar County, absolutely nothing. I do want to switch radar sites so we can look at the heavy rainfall that fell earlier today and even last night off to the west. And we did have a few pockets of nearly 4.5 to 5 inches of rainfall. So there was a little bit of flash flooding last night and earlier today, but those concerns have generally gone away. So here's a look at the radar right now, and the activity is moving on out of here. It's headed basically towards San Marcos and just clipping New Braunfels. A little bit of lightning and thunder left with it, but nothing significant, just some heavy rainfall right over the Bracken Bat Cave right now near Garden Ridge. And that's all, again, moving very quickly off to the northeast. This is going to come to an end soon, and then we could have a little bit of redevelopment later on tonight. Nothing significant, but, you know, isolated pop-up showers possible through the night. 20% chance, nothing to worry about. And then for the morning commute tomorrow, another 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms just to start the day tomorrow. Then we clear out. This weekend, low humidity on Saturday and maybe a stray pop-up shower or two, 20 to 30% chance Sunday and Monday. Talking more about the cold front for Thanksgiving. in just a bit.
Every school year, donation drives happen for new and gently used clothes to keep kids in classrooms and looking their best. But educators say there was one piece of clothing that is desperately needed, but often overlooked. It's underwear.
That is correct. So now a local nonprofit called Círculo de Chispas is stepping in to close that gap. The group is working directly with elementary schools to identify which campuses need the most help. And believe it or not, they're getting some assistance from none other than the Chones Ferry, or the underwear ferry.
A heartfelt donation of undergarments to kids who really need it here at JT Brackenridge Elementary.
At 78207, we're one of the poorest zip codes in San Antonio. Sometimes children we notice will come in with dirty socks, and sometimes it's a day or two.
These donations from San Antonio-based nonprofit Círculo de Chispas. They've been working with elementary schools in our area since 2021 to support underserved children by delivering these much-needed items.
I hope that a child receiving a calzoncito will make a difference. I know it will not take the child out of poverty, but it gives them hope.
Gloria Camarillo Vasquez is the founder of Círculo de Chispas, and she says she hopes this service will not only provide a basic necessity, but also help students with their self-confidence.
Felt so loved when my grandma made me my dress out of flour sack and made that pretty calzoncito to go with it. You know, just a new calzoncito makes anyone feel good and dignified.
And her labor of love has made her a familiar face throughout the community. The staff at the schools even lovingly call her the Chones Fairy, which translates to the underwear fairy.
When she saw that we had undergarments, she goes, "Oh, you're the Chones Fairy." Yeah. She said that she had opened that drawer and seen a lot of undergarments, and they didn't know where they were coming from.
So they thought that a Chones Fairy would just come and leave Chones at night. I don't know, but here we are.
Tejano music star Patsy Torres also making a big donation for the students. Gloria Camarillo Vasquez is grateful for all the help.
It's up to all of us to pass our blessings forward.
Stephanie Cerna, KSAT 12 News.
Oh, I just love that.
That is fantastic.
That was great.
Thank you, Steph, for that. Okay, we move on now in KSAT's. Courtney Friedman is meeting with city officials on what needs to be done to protect Bexar County senior citizens. Still ahead, what Bexar County plans to do about elder abuse.
Did you notice any trouble with your favorite websites this week? Maybe ChatGPT couldn't answer your question, or your Spotify playlist crashed. Well, you are not alone.
It was a little irritating for sure. Web infrastructure provider Cloudflare was disrupted on Tuesday, which temporarily impacted several online services. And Lee Waldman is live in New York for us this evening. So, Lee, it seems like this is just the latest in these outages from different companies throughout the year. So what is going on?
Ernie, Myra, good to be with you both. Yeah, you're exactly right. The outage from Cloudflare on Tuesday was not isolated. In fact, it's not their first outage of the year. Several other companies like CrowdStrike, Amazon Web Services, and Microsoft Azure had their own share of complications. But experts say it's just a sign of the times.
Some of the internet's most trusted brands and most used services went down.
Tuesday's 3-hour Cloudflare disruption was likely a shock to many, from DoorDash to Uber, even President Donald Trump's Truth Social platform. They all experienced an internet outage.
Cloudflare did drop the ball on this, but mistakes do happen, right, in life, in business.
In a statement, Cloudflare says the outage was a result of a technical issue, not a cyber attack or malicious behavior. It's the latest in a string of recent outages. Amazon Web Services was hit last month, and a few days later, Microsoft's Azure service went down. Jason Heiner with ZDNet says outages like these are to be expected.
More people are using the internet. More people are using it more often than ever. More people are relying on it for more things. And so we all are also more aware every time there's any kind of blip, right? And I expect that will only increase.
While it might seem like these outages are happening more often, that's not necessarily the case. Cisco Thousand Eyes, a network monitoring service, has logged 13 major outages so far in 2025. That compares to 23 in 2024, 13 in 2023, and 10 the year prior. Although these outages are inconvenient, you can expect them to keep happening.
It's one of the challenges when you work in technology. Nobody applauds you for the fact that the site never went down or continues working or it works great, right? They only notice if there's any blip that it doesn't work.
While these outage trends are not new, Cisco says in a blog post that they're seeing more of these types of disruptions with more far-reaching consequences. Ernie, Myra.
So, Lee, it's probably going to happen again. So what can consumers do when one of these outages happens?
Yeah, Myra, you're right. It's probably going to happen again, and I wish I had a better answer, but the solution here is to have backups. If Uber goes down, make sure you have Lyft downloaded. If your favorite food delivery service goes down, have several backups. If you rely on any of these types of sites for your day-to-day work, experts say it's on you to have backups in place to make sure that you can still get your job done.
So then, Lee, when it does happen again, how do we ultimately tell the difference between another outage or something worse, nefarious, like a ransomware attack?
Well, Ernie, a lot of this actually comes from the companies themselves. So let's look at what happened with Cloudflare just this week. The company right away said, hey, this was our fault, our mistake here. That's what led to this outage. It was not anything malicious or any kind of attack. Now, if this was a ransomware attack, we would see resources or information being held hostage. But what these companies are starting to do is utilize AI technology to test their own systems for vulnerabilities to prevent ransomware attacks from happening in the first place.
Lee Waldman reporting live from New York for us tonight. Lee, always good to see you. Thank you so much.
Well, you know, she's an alumni of KSAT, so we're a little biased.
Some love.
Yeah, yeah. She's done all right for herself.
She's doing great. We're
Very
proud
good.
of her.
We are very proud of her for sure. Okay, we move on now to another huge push to protect senior citizens. Bexar County ranks second in the state for abuse and exploitation numbers. And just days ago, Courtney Friedman reported on a brand new Bexar County center to support those seniors.
So on the same day, the city of San Antonio sent out a notice that it's also taking steps to protect seniors. So Courtney met up with District 9 City Councilwoman Misty Spears to talk about the city's version of support.
My sweet mother-in-law, we were very close, but she called me one day and she said, hey, I need you to take me to Western Union. I've got to get some money to this person. And I said, what are you talking about? And it was one of those scam emails.
There are so many seniors in our community who don't have family members able to watch out for them. Yeah.
That's probably our biggest concern.
That's why District 9 City Councilwoman Misty Spears asked to co-chair the city's new subcommittee on elder abuse and exploitation. It's already focusing on education.
It was our elder fraud abuse, like a seminar at our senior center. And we had an assistant DA come in and talk to our seniors about these are the signs.
Seems like there's also a push to educate others who might see abuse or exploitation and not say anything.
Right. I think it's important to look at caregivers. So we were trying to make sure that our medical community is aware and sees the signs, and then of course our law enforcement.
She's also commissioned the city's first ever study on senior citizens' needs.
It's also going to look at actual physical abuse as well.
The Battered Women's Shelter has a whole wing for senior citizens.
Spears saw our story just days ago about the county's new center for elder exploitation.
You're also sending out a press release the same day. What does that mean to you?
Very affirming that we are listening to our residents and that we're seeing something that needs to be fixed, and there's a willingness to work together and do this.
And she hopes the city and county can collaborate to close gaps and keep seniors far safer. Courtney Friedman, KSAT 12 News.
Well, millions of Americans getting ready to hit the roads and take to the skies for Thanksgiving week. Many of you are maybe already traveling. If you're worried about the airport, there is some good news. Air travel is getting back to normal, though the lines will of course be long because of the holidays. But for those hitting the roads, it's going to be just as crowded, especially if people choose to skip the terminals en masse.
We're going to have more traffic and more congestion on the road. A lot of people are going to make that call, though, at the last minute.
In total, AAA expects over 80 million Americans to travel this Thanksgiving weekend. The worst times to travel are Tuesday between noon and 9 p.m. and Wednesday between 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. The worst time to return home is Sunday between 11 a.m. and 8.
Well, today the Bureau of Labor Statistics released the September jobs report, and the results were mixed. The report was delayed because of the government shutdown. The U.S. economy added 119,000 jobs in September, and that's an unexpected rebound for the labor market. But on the flip side, unemployment rose to 4.4%, a nearly four-year high. The report also revised the August job numbers. Instead of gaining 22,000 jobs that month, August actually saw a loss of 4,000 jobs.
Making headlines tonight, President Donald Trump says that he has signed the bill that would release all of the files surrounding convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
So the Justice Department has now 29 days to produce the documents in full, with some potential exceptions. The law calls for the release states, it calls in the release, it says that the Attorney General can withhold certain documents that could impede a federal investigation, but only for a limited time.
Regardless, millions of Americans, especially the victims of Epstein's crimes, are waiting with bated breath.
Wow, what a long fight it has been for all the survivors. And we are just a step closer to releasing these files.
Now, when asked if she would be withholding any documents from the release, the Attorney General Pam Bondi said that she would follow the law and provide transparency.
If you're in the spirit of giving this holiday season, how about a vending machine to help you do that? A special kind of vending machine just opened up at the Pearl. Find out how you can use it to help out local nonprofits. We'll explain coming up. Well, the Pearl is decked out and ready for the holidays.
Indeed, and visitors looking to embrace the spirit of giving now have a chance to help out this holiday season in a unique way. The Light the World giving machine is up and running at the Pearl right now, so it gives people the opportunity to help out a nonprofit this holiday season. You can make a contribution by picking an item in the vending machine that goes directly to a nonprofit.
We know that community makes everything stronger, so when you come out and support any of these nonprofits, you're creating a strong San Antonio community, and that's where nonprofits live and thrive.
The giving machine will be at the Pearl through December 7th. All things holidays about to really kick into high gear here.
Exactly, and again, keeping an eye out on the rain situation. Not everybody's getting it right now, but the radar has been lighting up. Mr. Caskey.
Yeah, a little bit of action out there, and it's really winding down. And if you were in an area of town, which is a good chunk of San Antonio and Bexar County, that didn't get the rain, you saw the lightning off in the distance, and it felt so close, just a little too far away. Here's the last of it, moving through Wimberley, even Canyon Lake, east side of Canyon Lake there, right at the dam, just that last little downpour that's left. This is paralleling I-35 and moving up just soon out of the KSAT 12 viewing area. We can expect some more development tonight. Nothing serious, just some stray sporadic showers. Weekend, slight chance of rain, and a noticeable cold front to talk about in just a bit.
Welcome back. Bexar County commissioners have approved an $11 million bid to create a new animal care facility. That new facility is slated to be built right here along Cagnon Road in southwest Bexar County. According to a news release, the 17,000 square foot facility will be able to hold 132 animals. The building will include spaces for surgery, examinations, and adoptions of animals. No date for the groundbreaking has been set yet, and the animal care facility in Kirby will stay open alongside this new one.
We've been talking a lot about the rain this evening. Adam said it's winding down, but we also have this cold front to talk about, Adam.
Yeah, noticeable cold front finally on the way. And, there's a lot of uncertainty in this kind of forecast because of the upper level cutoff lows that we've been talking about for a couple of weeks now. I'll show you more on that in just a little bit. But I do want to show you what we have for our temperature trend and expect changes by Thanksgiving. We'll have afternoons in the 70s. Humidity is going to come and go, but then by Wednesday, late in the day, a cold front hits, and notice by Thursday, Thanksgiving, we're talking a high temperature of 63 degrees, and even colder, of course, in the mornings. We're going to have some chillier mornings back down in the 40s around Thanksgiving. So we'll get to those other details in a moment, but I want to point out Authority radar, the last little bit of shower activities pushing off to the northeast. That's moving on out of here. And we did pick up about an inch of rain far northwest side of town, far north side. This is all part of the upper level low. This is actually system number 2 across the lower 48. This is headed off to the northeast. The bulk of the rain was just north of us in other parts of Texas and in the hill country. We had upwards of 4 inches of rain in parts of the hill country. Here's the next system that's going to move our way. It's another one dropping more showers over Southern California. This is their third system within basically the past week or so, within the past 7 to 10 days, the third system. That one's going to track our way and impact us early Monday morning. Here's our futurecast, and it's a little aggressive here at, say, 6:35 p.m., but it does show that activity moving out. And then here's the thing. We could have some more development, some redevelopment, just localized overnight tonight and early tomorrow morning. Some stray showers, brief pop-up downpours. Can't rule out a few claps of thunder. And then as a weak cool front drops in, a broken line of rain tomorrow morning for the morning commute. And then we'll see the sky clear out by tomorrow afternoon, turning into sunshine. Thursday, new drought monitor is in. 65% of Texas considered in drought. Of course, a lot of that right here in our neck of the woods and around Big Bend, so we could use more rain. 70 degrees tomorrow morning, 40% chance of showers for the morning commute. Nothing significant, just be prepared to have some wet roadways here and there. Definitely not everybody's going to see it. And then 79 the high temperature, so near 80 in the afternoon, clearing out later in the day after that chance of morning rain. We get into the weekend. Low humidity Saturday. It's going to feel nice on Saturday. Lack of mugginess will be in the 70s, actually 60 in the morning. Only 77 in the afternoon. A stray sprinkle or two can't be ruled out Saturday. I think mostly closer to the Gulf Coast and south of San Antonio. Then it takes us into Sunday. And a 30% chance of a few storms possible on Sunday. Then Monday, we're at a 40% chance for the morning storms. And then notice that front hits and morning temperatures down in the 40s by Thanksgiving morning. We're talking 47, so cooling off. Oh, baby, we have a very special thermometer Thursday, taking it to the Blessed Angels Senior Center.
That took a turn.
Hello.
Oh, my gosh. What? My eyes, my eyes.
Hold it up, hold it up, hold it up. 6, 7.
B7. Woo! 1, 6, 1.
Oh, so much fun. I always bring a couple of thermometers with me as one of the final raffle drawings. And, Myra joined me for the first time.
I know, this week you brought me with you.
Yes,
it was so much fun.
And they were decorated for both Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then I'll be there for their ugly sweater contest coming up in December to call bingo again. I'm really looking forward to that.
We're going to crash it.
Yeah, please do. Honestly, the more the merrier. Come along with me and join me. But I love bringing the thermometers to them, so I brought 2 of them. One for Marion Thomas, whose birthday was yesterday.
She's a saint, by the way.
She is a saint.
Yes.
And then another for a winner, and I always bring along. And by the way, it is thermometer ornament season, so go to ksat.com/thermometer. I give about 1 away per day starting early December.
I got to tell you, I told you this when we left the senior center, like that just made my day.
Right, doesn't it?
Yes. They were the rowdiest, most lovable crowd, and I can't wait to go back.
One of the women said, my 60-year-old daughter said we were too much for her.
You think?
I believe it. I believe it. We'll be right back.
Love that crowd.